Hello.
Hola Mario, 7:30, ¿no?
Ah, así dijo ayer.
No, nadie estaba aquí. Uf,
¿Qué está ahí arriba de la pared en tu
¿qué?
casa? ¿Es una lámpara? Es una
¿Qué?
lámpara a tu derecha arriba, en la pared. A tu derecha. You're right. Más arriba.
The scone.
Oh, parecía una caja de una planta.
No, ahí arriba son the scones.
No, ok.
That, yeah.
Ah, ahora sí, ahora lo veo. Ok. Hi, Yomi.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
We're on Mem Zayin Amud Beis, 47b.
Mhm.
Ibailahu, Heicha de Kabla Lena Tirusa. The owner of the courtyard, when he gave permission to somebody to come in, and also accepted the responsibility to watch them. Mao, is it the Nafshehu Kabbalah lay? For example, he accepts on himself that he will not damage, or his animals will not damage things.
Sorry,
Walter.
very holding. Sorry.
Mem Zayin
40,
Mem Hey.
Amud Beis,
Oh, Mem Zayin still on. We didn't get the
47b near the bottom.
Okay, I got it.
We're asking the question, when the Bala Chotzer gives permission for somebody's kalim or animal to come into his Chotzer, and we say that he accepted Shmira as well, so that Shmira is the Nafshe Kabbalah? Is it just he accepts that he won't damage something or his animals won't damage something? Odilma, I'm feeling Terusa the Alma Kabbalah. What if another ox walks into his courtyard and does damage? Is he responsible for that? So Toshma. The Tani Rav Yehuda Bar Simon, Benizikin de Karno. There was a Talmud that dealt with damages in the name of Karna, the Chacham Karna. Hichnis Peros of Chatzer Balabay Shalo B'Shus. A person deposited his fruits into his neighbor's Chatzer, doesn't ask permission. And an ox wanders in from somewhere else, not the Chatzer's ox, a stranger's ox comes into that Chatzer v'Achlan Potur. V'michnis B'Shus, if another ox was allowed in B'Shus Chai. Now, who is Potter, who is Chai? Man Potter, man Chai. Aren't we talking about Lav, Potter Balachotzer, V'Chai Balachotzer? That the first case where the person brought his fruits in without permission, and an ox from the outside world came and damaged it, the owner of the chutzner would be potter. But in the second case where he gave reshus to come in, even if a strange ox, he's chayiv. The Gemara seems to have a proof to that. The Gemara says no. What does it mean? Potter chayiv? No. Potter balashor, v'chayiv balashor. We're talking about the owner of the shore that wandered into the chutzner. So in the first case, where the person had brought his payros in there without permission for anybody, the balashor is potter. But if the owner of the chutzner gave permission to somebody to put his payros there, the balashor who let his ox go in there is chai. Even balashor, if it's the owner of the shore my Bershus, my Shalom Bershusika. What does it make a difference then whether the owner of the chutzner gave permission to come in or not? There's no, if somebody else brought their payros in there, there's no difference in responsibility, whether there's Rishus or no. So the Gemara answers that. Amri, Bershus, if the person brought his food permission, Avyale, Shane Bershus Anizik. So if a shore eats food in another person's rishus, so if the Bala Chotzer gave permission to his friend to put Perus there, so it's like the friend's Chotzer. V'shein b'rshus hanizik chayavis. If the owner is chayiv to pay shein b'rshus hanizik, but if he put it in shalom b'rshus, havilein shein b'rshus harabim, it's just as if the shore had that damage in b'rshus harabim. Shein b'rshus harabim p'tura. Okay, Torshma. Hichnis shor l'chotzer balabay shalom b'rshus. Person puts his ox in his neighbor's chotzer without permission. Uba shor mimakam acher v'nocha. A shore wanders in outside and gores this shore, potter, because he didn't have permission to put his shore there. If he was given permission, then now who are we talking about? Man potter, man chayv. Aren't we talking about lav potter balachotzer v'chayv balachotzer? We're referencing the owner of the chotzer. And in the first case, where a person brought his oxen without permission of the balachotzer, and a shore from the outside comes in and damages, the balachotzer would be potter. But if he gave permission and he got damaged, he'd be chayiv. From here would come out that when you give permission for somebody to put something in your chotzer, you chayiv to watch it, even from the outside. Versus low, there's no raya. When we say potter and chayiv, we mean potter balashor v'chayiv balashor. We're dealing with the owner of the shore that came in and did damage. If the guy had put in his fruits, or the guy had put in his ox without rishus, then the balashor is potter. If the guy had rishus to do it, the balashor is chayiv. So the Gemara asked, what does that have anything to do with whether he was given rishus? The damages of Karen, you pay no matter where you are, even rishus harabi. Amri Hamani, Rav Tarfoni, Sha'amar Mishuna, Karen b'chatzor nezik shali mishal. That if an ox gores in private property, a tam pays nezik shalim right from the get-go. So that's what we mean. Birshus means guy was given permission to put his shore in. It becomes Karen b'chatzor nezik mishal nezik shalim. And if he brought it in shalom b'rshus, at least it's havilei Karen b'rshus harabim below mishal melachatzi nezik. Still has to pay, but he would pay like a ton that does damage in b'rshus harabim, which is chatzi nezik. Tomorrow we're going to learn at 7:30. There's no tzvika shir. Hayi it's the also lemiyapa bahu besa. A woman came in to a house to bake bread. Also barcha de moed besa. A goat that belonged to the owner of the house came achla elisha chavlu meis, ate the dough that the woman was going to use to bake the bread, and he got sick and died. The goat. Chayva Rava l'shlume d'mei barcha. Rava adjudicated that the woman has to pay the value of the goat. Lema pliga de Rav. Remember, Rav said you're going to be potter because who said that the animal should eat? It's not your responsibility that the animal ate. Because Amar Rav, Havila shelo toichal. Who said that the goat should eat? So Amri Achiach is no comparison. Hasan, when we're talking about a person bringing his payros into a chutzner, and you did it shelo b'rshus, lo kibel alei netirusa. When the owner of the chutzner gave permission to bring the fruits in, he didn't accept responsibility that the fruits shouldn't do damage. But here, when the woman came in to bake the bread, hacha b'rshus, he allowed her kabel alei netirusa. He accepted responsibility, or at least the woman accepted responsibility to make sure that the goat wouldn't eat it. Well, Maishna, why is it different from the case of Me'aisha shenichnas l'tchon chitin? Woman came into a house, wanted to grind wheat. Eitzel balabayis shelo b'rshus, and she came in without permission. Ve'achaltan be'emter shel balabayis. The animal of the balabais ate up the wheat. So since she went in without reshus, the balabais is potter. Im huska. Now, if the animal slipped and got damaged, chayeves, the woman would be chayev because she brought her animal in without reshus, or she brought the wheat in without reshus. Time is shelo b'rshus, abir reshus. What are you going to say? Potter? Amri, litchon chitin, kiven de lo boy tzniusa midi. To grind wheat, you don't need special tznius. Lo boy misaki marvus at the chutzner of shai. The owners of the chutzner don't leave the chutzner. They're not worried about tznius. Valad yidon rabbi netirusa. And he doesn't have to leave, so he's gonna, if he gave permission, he's gonna make sure nobody gets damaged. Aval miyapa, but to bake bread, she has to roll up her sleeves. Looking at the arms of a woman is an erva. Even the boy eats niusa, she needs privacy. Marvis of the chutzner, the owners of the chutzner, misakin nefshar, leave. So the responsibility to watch the chitim that no other animal should eat it and get sick falls on her. Person put his ox into somebody's courtyard without permission. Amarava ichni shor lechotzer balabais shelo b'rshus v'chafer babar shichnu ma'aros, and this animal dug ditches and holes. Balashor chai b'nizkei chotzer. The owner of the shore that did that damage is chayiv to pay for any damages that are done in the chotzer. Ubal chotzer chai b'nizkei abor. However, if the owner of the chotzer doesn't fill in these holes and somebody gets damaged by the holes, he's chayiv to pay. Avagav damar mar ki yichre ish bor. Ish v'lo shor bor. That means you're not responsible normally if your shore dug a bore, only if you dug a bore. So the balachotzer should be potter. But hachakiven the isil hech lemalve, he should have filled in the holes that the animal made, v'lo komalya, and he didn't fill it in. His commanded car. It's as if he dug the bore. V'amarava hichni shor lechotzer balabais shelo b'rshus. Person puts his ox into his friend's courtyard without permission. Vihizik as balabais. The shore damages the balabais, or balabais v'huzak, or trips over it and gets damaged. Chayiv. The owner of the shore is chayiv to pay damage. Ravatz, if he like stretched out and lied down, and that's how you got damaged, potter. Now I don't understand. Mishum sharavatz potter. Amrav papa my ravatz. Shehir bits galolim. He went to the bathroom. Nitnefu kelev shabalabayas. And what we're talking about, the damage is his items or clothing got dirty from the dung. which Davi Glolim bore, any obstacle or it's not just when you dig a bore. There, the dung is also considered like bore. But lo matzinu bor shechai bosa kelim. If kelim fall into a bore, you're not chai for that. So since we've determined that the dung is treated as bore, if it did damage to kelim of the balabais, you're potter. Hanich l'shmuel domer kota kola borhu. Anytime you trip over something in a chutzner, it has a din of bore, which would potter you from kelim. But Rav, the Omar, Adamafkirle, Rav says that any item in a chutzner, and somebody gets damaged by it, by tripping over it, it's not bore until you are mafkir it. And here he didn't mafkir it. Michael Meimar. Amri, stam gloli mafkir mafkilu. If an animal goes to the bathroom, the gloli, most people are mafkir that. They're not interested in keeping that. So it's bore, according to Rav as well. Good. V'amar Rava. Nichnas l'chotzer balabais shelo b'rshus. A person or an animal goes into a courtyard without permission. Because balabais or balabais huzakbo. And those animals did damage, or the balabais tripped over it and he got chai. Imiziko balabais, and if the balabais damaged those, potter. Amar papa loya maran. Because we're talking about his potter if the owner didn't know that an animal had come into his chutzner. Even though without permission, he's ziko balabais chayiv. If the balabais ended up damaging that animal, you'd be chayiv. My time, mishum de omerle, the owner of the item that got damaged by the balachotzer will say to the balachotzer, yes, you had reshus to throw my animal out of there, but lazuki, but to damage it, you didn't have permission. Rav and Rav Papa are consistent. Dama Rav Vitema Rav Papa. Shneim b'rshus and shneim shelo b'rshus. Two people that have permission to be in the same reshus, or two people entered at a reshus, both of them without permission. Yiziku zed zeh chayovit. If each damaged the other, they're chayiv to pay. If they tripped, v'husku zeh b'zeh p'turim. Taima shneim b'rshus and shneim shelo b'rshus. They're on equal footing. Aval echad b'rshus ve'echad shelo b'rshus. B'rshus potter, the guy who's in there with permission, if he did damage, he's potter, and the guy who's in there is chayiv. Nafel labor v'hivish. The Mishnah said an animal fell into a bore when it went into a chutzner without permission, and the water in the bore became undrinkable. Chayiv. It caused the water to be a problem right then. If the animal had to be there a while because of its heat or its smell, or it died and it rotted, and that's why the water is bad potter. My taima, havi shore bore. The shore there is like a bore, because it's like something you trip over or can do damage. Umayim is kekelim. V'lo matzinu bor shechayiv bos hakelim. Anich damakota kola boru. Fine, but El Rav the Amar Adam Mafkir. Remember, Rav said it's not considered bor unless you were a mafkir. It Michael Mema. Ela itmar hachi itmar. Amar Rav. Lo yishona ela shehivish migufo. If the water was damaged by its corpse, then there's damage. Aval hivish merecho, but because of a bad smell, potter. My time, a grama balmuhu. It's not a direct damage. Grama ba'alma lo machai. It's got to be an active hezek. Haya aviv b'no l'socho. Person's father or son are in the board, and a shore comes in without permission and falls on them and kills them. Mishalim koifer. The owner of the shore has to pay koifer. Ve'amai hatamu. The animal's a tam. You don't pay koifer unless it's the muad. Amarav. We're talking about this animal has fallen on people in a bore multiple times. So, well, if he's a muad and who killed, the animal should have been put to death. Rav Yosef, the Chazi Yeruka, it saw greenery on top of the boar, wanted to eat it. The novel, he didn't have kavana to damage through nefila. He wanted to eat. It's koifer, and he wasn't killed. Shmuel Amar, it could be a tam, but mani Rabbi Yosef Glili Amar tam misham chatzi koifer. We say koifer, it really means chatzi koifer, because according to Rabbi Yosef Glili, a tam pays chatzi koifer. Ula Amar, Rabbi Yosef Glili, who will you pay koifer? The Homer of Tarfon, Karen, B'chatzra Nizik, Nezik Shalim Mishal. Karen, in private property, pays full Nezik. Achanami Koifer Shalim Mishal. Same thing. According to Tarfon, a Tam pays full Koifer. Bishma Ula Hainu Diktani Hayu Aviv Obno L'Socho. I understand, according to the way Ula learns, why it mentioned father and son. Because it was Karen in a private property. But Lishmuel, my area Shmuel says anytime it's a bore. What do we need? We don't need or you pay chatzi koifer according to that shita, even if it's Rishus Harabim. So the Gemara says Urcha de Milson Tani. It gave us a case of private property where there's going to be a father or a son, but doesn't it's lav daf. V'imichnis pirshus. If an ox was allowed to go into the chutzner, Baal Chutzner Chayim. And if there's damage created, the Baal Chutzner gave permission. Rebbe argued he has to be Makabel Shmira separately. Itmar. Machloikas Amir. Rav Amar, Hilchas Katana Kama, that it's assumed that if an owner gives permission for somebody to come in, he's going to take full Shmuel Amar Kilchas a Karebi. He doesn't have full responsibility unless he declares that. The Baal HaChatzer says to the Baal HaShor, Knos Shorcha V'Shamru. You bring your oxen, but you have to watch it. Hizik, if the shore damaged the Baal HaChatzer Chayiv, the owner of the shore has to pay. Huzak, if he damaged the shore, potter. About the Baal HaChatzer's. But if he said Knos Shorcha V'Anieshmeren, bring in your oxen, I'll watch it. Huzak, if the shore got damaged, Chayiv, the Baal HaChatzer would be Chayiv. Hizik, if the shore damaged, so potter, the Baal HaShor. So the Gemara says Hagufa Kasha. The Bryce is internally contradictory. Amrit, Knos Shorcha V'Shmaro, bring your oxen. We said, Hizik, if the shore damaged, he's chayiv to pay. Huzak, if the ox itself got damaged by the Baal's potter. Chaim Mishum Sha'amar Leishmaro. So Chayiv Baal HaShor, potter Baal Chotzer. That's why the Baal HaShor is Chayiv and the Baal Chotzer is potter. Implying Hastam, if he didn't say anything, just gave him reshus to come in without a special amira, of shmor, we would think chai bala chotzer if the shore got damaged. Upotter bala shore, and the bala shore would be potter if it did damage, which is like the sheet of the chachamim, that without saying anything, there's already understood shmira. That bistamim makabel and neterusa, that the bala chotzer who gives permission to come in basically accepts responsibility to guard it. That's the ratio. Ema seifa. Just the opposite. Knos shorcha v'aniashberen. Bring in your ox, I will watch it, says the bala chotzer. Who's zak? If the ox got damaged, chayiv, he would have to pay. His zik, if it did damage, potter. Now why? Taima, meaning the bala shore is potter. Why? Because vani ashmenu de machay. Bala chotzer potter. By saying I will watch it, the bala chotzer takes responsibility, and the bala shore is potter. But without that statement, hastama chayiv bala shore upotter bala chotzer, then the bala chotzer would not have taken responsibility, because the bistama lo makabel alei neterusa. Just giving permission to come in doesn't necessarily have him accepting responsibility, which is now a son the Rebbe. The Omar ad the kabel alei neterusa, balabais lishmor. Comes out Reisha Rabban on Sefer Rebbe. It's a split Mishnah. On Rabbi Lezer Tavra. Yeah, it's a broken Mishnah. Misha Shonazu, Lo Shonazu. Rava Omar, no. Kulak Rabbanani. And you can't be medayik from the word Eshmerenu. I did an os of Reisha. Since you described the Reisha case with the Bala Chotzer saying Shmoro, but really, even if he didn't say it, and he gave Rishus Pistam to bring the shore into his chotzer, that's enough to accept responsibility for the Shmira. Rav Papa says the opposite. Kula Rebbe, where Bistam just giving permission to come in doesn't have the owner accepting responsibility. Because Sarvala Rav Tarf and Shamar Karen B'Chatzar Nizik, if an ox gores B'Chatzar Nezik Shalim, he pay Nezik Shalim. Hilkach,
Can you confirm with Hannah for Friday night?
Amar Le Shmaro,
Maybe
if
rain.
he says watch it, Lo Matni Le Malkam B'Chatzar, he does not give him a certain area in the Chatzar to make it like his Chatzar, and then Havile Karen B'Chatzar Nizik, which would make it Karen in like private property, but Karen B'Chatzar Nizik, Mishal Nezik Shalim. But since Lo Amar Le Shmar, since he didn't say Shmaro, and giving Rishus La'achnis must be Aknu Aknu Le Mokom B'Chatzar. He was mocked him a certain chelik in the Chatzar, and therefore Havale Chatzar Shutofim. It becomes a Chatzar of partners. The Karen B'Chatzar Shutofim Ein Mishal El Chatzin Nezik. Karen B'Chatzar Shutofin only pays Chatzin Nezik.
Hello?
To stop here. Okay, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow at 7:30.
Okay, so
Mario,
yeah.